As for Lord Vishnu, however, it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that anyone who accepts Lord Vishnu or Krishna as the supreme friend attains the highest perfection of peaceful life. What a nice message, coincidence with songs and this wonderful. The sages, because all the assembly of the sages sent the Bhrigumuni to find out who is the supreme. So now the sages thus concluded that by following the principle of Vaishnava Dharma, one becomes actually perfect. But that if one follow all the religious principles of a particular sect and does not become advanced in understanding the Supreme Personality Godhead Vishnu, all such labor of love is fruitless. Very well. To execute religious principle means to come to the platform of perfect knowledge. If one comes to the platform of perfect knowledge, then he will be uninterested in material affairs. Perfect knowledge means knowledge of one's own self and the Supreme Self. The Supreme Self and the individual self, although one in quality, are different in quantity. This analytical understanding of knowledge is perfect. Simply to understand, I'm not matter, I'm spirit, is not perfect knowledge. The real religious principle is devotional service or bhakti. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says, quote, give up all other religious principles and simply surrender unto me, unquote. Therefore, the term dharma applies only to Vaishnava Dharma or Bhagavad Dharma, by following which one automatically achieves all good qualities and advancement in life. The highest perfectional knowledge is knowledge of the Supreme Lord. He cannot be understood by any process of religion other than the devotional service. Therefore, the immediate result of perfect knowledge is achieved by executing devotional service. After attainment of knowledge, one becomes uninterested in the material world. This is not because of dry philosophical speculations. The devotee becomes uninterested in the material world, not simply because of theoretical understanding, but because of practical experience. That's what I was telling during the meditation time. It's required. When a devotee realizes the effect of association with the Supreme Lord, he naturally has the association of so-called society, friendship and love. This detachment is not dry, but is due to achieving a higher status of life by relishing transcendental marvels. It is further stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that after attainment of such knowledge and such detachment from material sense gratification, one's advancement in the 8 opulences attained through mystic yoga practice, such as Anima, Laghima, and Prapti Siddhis, is also achieved without separate effort. The perfect example is Maharaj Ambrish. He was not a mystic yogi, but a great devotee. Yet, in disagreement with Maharaj Ambrish, the great mystic Durvasa was defeated in the presence of king's devotional attitude. In other words, A devotee does not need to practice the mystic yoga system to achieve power. The power is behind him by the grace of the Lord. Just as when a small child is surrendered to a powerful father, all the powers of the father are behind him. Wonderful explanation. When a person becomes famous as a devotee of the Lord, his reputation is never to be extinguished. Lord Chaitanya, when discussing with Ramanand Roy questioned, with Ramanand Roy, Lord Chaitanya questioned to Ramanand Roy, quote, "What is the greatest fame?" And Ramanand Roy replied, "That to be known as a pure devotee of Lord Krishna is the perfect fame." The conclusion, therefore, is that Vishnu Dharma, or the religion of devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is meant for parents who are thoughtful. By proper utilization of thoughtfulness, one comes to the stage of thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes free from the contamination of the faulty association of the material world, and thus one becomes peaceful. The world is in a disturbed condition because of a scarcity of such peaceful devotees in the human society. Unless one is a devotee, one cannot be equal to all living entities. A devotee is equally disposed toward the animals, human beings, and all living entities, because he sees every living entity as a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. In the Isopanishad, it is clearly stated that one who has come to the stage of seeing all living beings equally does not hate anyone or favor anyone. The devotee does not hanker to possess more than he requires. Devotees are therefore akinchana. In any condition of life, a devotee is satisfied. It is said that a devotee is even-minded, whether he is in a hell or in a heaven. A devotee is callous to all subjects other than his engagement in devotional service. This mode of life is the highest perfectional stage, from which one can be elevated to the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead. The devotees of the Supreme Personality Godhead are especially attracted by the highest material quality, goodness, and the qualified Brahmana is the symbolic representation of this goodness. Therefore, a devotee is attached to the Brahminical stage of life. He is not very interested in passion or ignorance, although these qualities also emanate from the Supreme Lord Vishnu. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the devotees are described as Nipuna Buddhayaha, which means that they are most intelligent class of men, uninfluenced by attachment or hatred. The devotee lives very peacefully and is not agitated by the influence of passion and ignorance. So it may be questioned here why a devotee should be attached to the quality of goodness in the material world if he is transcendental to all material qualities. The answer is that there are different kinds of people existing in the modes of material nature. Those in the mode of ignorance are called Rakshasas. Those in the mode of passion are called Asuras. So there is a difference, Rakshasas and Asuras. And those in the mode of goodness are called Suras or demigods. Under the direction of the Supreme Lord, these three classes of men are created by material nature. But those in the mode of goodness have a greater chance to be elevated to the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead. Thus, all the sages, I will be back in 1 minute. Thus, all the sages who assemble on the bank of the river Saraswati to try to determine who is the supreme predominating deity became freed from all doubts about Vishnu worship. All of them thereafter engage in devotional service, and thus they achieve the desired result and back to Godhead. Those who are actually eager to be liberated from material entanglement would do well to accept at once the conclusion given by Shukadeva Goswami. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, it is said that hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is extremely conducive to liberation. The same fact is now confirmed by the Sutta Goswami. If anyone who is traveling aimlessly within this material world cares to hear the nectarian words spoken by Sukadeva Goswami, certainly he will come to the right conclusion, which is that simply by discharging devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one will be able to stop the fatigue of perpetually migrating from one material body to another. In other words, one who becomes fixed in loving devotional service to Lord Vishnu will certainly be able to get relief from this journey of material life. And the process is very simple. One has to give oral receptions to the sweet words spoken by Sukadeva Goswami in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Another conclusion is that we should never consider the demigods, even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to be on the equal level with Lord Vishnu. If we do this, then according to the Padma Purana, we are immediately categorized as atheists. Also in the Vedic literature known as Harivamsa, it is stated that only the Supreme Personality Godhead Vishnu is to be worshipped, and that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or any such Vishnu mantra is always to be chanted. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma says, quote, both Lord Shiva and I are engaged by the Supreme Personality Godhead to act in different capacities under His directions, unquote. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is also stated that the only master is Krishna, and that all others in all categories of life are servant of Krishna only. The theme is very perfect from morning to now, that we should come to the conclusion to accept only Krishna as our master and our guru, our parampara. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed by the Lord that there is no truth superior to Krishna. Shukadev Goswami also, in order to draw attention to the fact that among all Vishnu Tattva forms, Lord Krishna is 100% the Supreme Personality of Godhead, narrated the story of an incident which took place when Lord Krishna was present. So, Sukdev Goswami is revealing that story. Once upon a time in Dwarka, a Brahmana's wife gave birth to a child. Interesting story. Unfortunately, however, just after being born and touching the ground, the child immediately died. The Brahmana father took the child and went directly to the palace of the king. The Brahmana was very upset because of the untimely death of the child in the presence of his young father and mother. Thus his mind became very much disturbed. Formerly, when there were responsible kings up to the time of Dwapar Yuga, when Lord Krishna was present, the king was liable to be blamed for the untimely death of a child in the presence of his parents. Similarly, such a responsibility was there during the time of Lord Ramchandra. As we have explained in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the king was so responsible for the comfort of their citizens that he was to see that there was not even excessive heat or cold. Now, the Brahmana who saw Haribol, who has started unmuting. Please, Sundari Latika Mataji. We are reading from Krishna book, so please listen. It is better. So king was so responsible for the comfort of the citizen that he was to see that there was not even excessive heat or cold. Now the Brahmana whose child has died, thinking there was no fault on his own part, because immediately went to the palace door with the dead child in his arms and accused the king as follows. This was the system, because following the religious principles is the basis of the human form of life. No matter what happened to us, we should never deviate from this principle. We should take austerity, we should take happily the adverse situations, but we should never give up our religious practices and the principles. So the present king Ugrasena is envious of the Brahmanas. The exact word used in this connection is Brahma Dvisa, one who is envious of the Vedas, of a qualified Brahmana, or of a Brahmana caste is called Brahmadvis. So the king was accused of being Brahmanadvis. He was also accused of being study, falsely intelligent. The executive head of a state must be very intelligent to see to the comfort of the citizens. But according to the Brahmana, the king was not at all intelligent, although he was occupying the royal throne. Therefore, the Brahmana also called him Lubdha, which means greedy. In other words, a king or an executive head of the state should not occupy the exalted post of president or king if he is greedy and self-interested. But it is natural that an executive head becomes self-interested when he is attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, another word used here is Visayatmanaha. The Brahmana also accused the king of being Kshatrabandhu, which refer to a person born in the family of Kshatriyas or the royal order, but lacking the qualification of a royal personality. A king should protect Brahminical culture and should be very alert to the welfare of his citizens. Nowadays, we can see the leader, they have no interest whatsoever what we are talking about. And that's the reason that all the suffering will continue more and more as the time goes by. Degradation of the human society, we can see it in last 50 years even. We have witnessed that. He should not be greedy due to attachment to material enjoyment. If a person with no qualification represent himself as a Kshatriya of the royal order, he is not called a Kshatriya, but the Kshatra Bandhu. Similarly, if a person is born of a Brahmana father, but has no Brahminical qualification, he is called Brahma Bandhu or Dvij Bandhu. This means that a Brahmana or a Kshatriya is not accepted simply by birth. One has to qualify himself for the particular position. Only then is he accepted as a Brahmana or Kshatriya. And Prabhupada's mission was to create so many Brahmanas. Our lives should be totally Brahminical. And Bhagavad Gita, I don't remember the chapter or the verse, but it explains what are the qualities should be of the Brahmana. And when you read Socha, cleanliness, tolerance, austerity, truthfulness, all this value must be preserved in our life. We should not become attached. Because nowadays there was a very nice one question was asked by I was watching that all the Supreme Court of India went to meet with Premanand Maharaj in Vrindavan. And they were asking that questions that Maharaj, because we have taken this occupation of lawyer, we have to make a call judgment. What should you recommend? Is it that we are going to get a lot of reactions? And Maharaj's response was that no, you are knowledgeable, you deliberate, you have read the book, how to deliberate this situation and come to the conclusion. And one thing is for sure, when we hear even the argument, within our heart, some feeling will come that this person is correct, this person is not correct. And then Maharaj was telling that if you find it out that the person that you are protecting or fighting for is corrupt or that is mistake, don't accept the money and don't take those cases. Give up those cases. Then there is no reactions. And mostly Maharaj was very intelligent. He says, the person who give you more money to fight your case, you know for sure there must be some dark spot. Otherwise, if somebody has not done anything, why they have to worry? Even they take you to the Supreme Court. So all the Supreme Court justices were there. And I was really amazed that they asked those questions. Dharma must be protected. That's what Maharaj was guiding them. That don't take it. You must follow the Dharma, even though you are the judge sitting in the Supreme Court. Your duty is to give a right decision. Don't get influenced by the money or anything like that. Otherwise, you will suffer like anything in the hell. And we see that's the reason a lot of the time somebody said, I'm want to be a lawyer. And I said, why you want to be a lawyer? Lawyer is nothing but the liar. They make this thing even totally opposite to what it happened. That's called lawyership, you know. But Maharaj was very, very nice. He said, don't do those things for the sake of truthfulness. Remain strict in your decision. Even though somebody can kill you, don't worry. Your life will be successful. Even somebody kill you for the right cause. I think that's what the society we need to create within our devotee. And we should set a good example. That's what Prabhupada's mission is, to create a real Brahmanas in the society who can guide the society. And if we live like that, people will one day listen to us. Definitely. So let's continue reading. Thus the Brahmana charged that his newly born baby was dead due to disqualification of the king. The Brahmana took it to be most unnatural, and therefore he held the king responsible. We also find in Vedic history that if a Kshatriya king was irresponsible, sometime a consulting board of Brahmanas maintained by the monarchy would dethrone him. Considering all this point, it appears that the post of monarch in Vedic civilization is a very responsible one. Any leadership position, we should be held responsible. The Brahmana therefore said, no one should offer respect or worship to a king whose only business is envy. Such a king spent his time either hunting and killing animals in the forest or killing citizens for criminal acts. He has no self-control and possesses bad character. If such a king is worshipped or honored by the citizen will never be happy. They will always remain poor. Listen this attentively. Full of anxieties and aggrievement and always unhappy. Unquote. In modern politics, the post of the monarch has been abolished, and the president is not held responsible for the comfort of the citizens. In this age of Kali, the executive head of a state somehow or other gets votes and is elected to an exalted post. But the condition of the citizen continue to be full of anxiety, distress, unhappiness, and dissatisfaction. So the Brahmana's second child also died at birth, and the third also. He had 9 children who all died at birth. And each time he came to the gate of the palace to accuse the king. When the Brahmana came to accuse the king of Dwarka for the 9th time, Arjuna happened to be present with Krishna. On hearing that a Brahmana was accusing the king of not properly protecting him, Arjuna became inquisitive and approached the Brahmana. Arjuna said, quote, my dear Brahmana, why do you say that there are no proper Kshatriyas to protect the citizens of your country? Is there not even someone who can pretend to be a Kshatriya, who can carry a bow and arrow, at least to make a show of protection? Do you think that all the royal... Just 1 minute. What did happen? Yeah. Do you think that all the royal personalities in this country simply engage in performing sacrifice with the Brahmanas but have no real good power. Thus, Arjuna indicated that Kshatriyas should not sit back comfortably on the pretext of performing Vedic rituals, but must rather be very, very expert in protecting the citizens. Brahmanas, being engaged in spiritual activities, are not expected to do anything which require physical endeavor. Therefore, they need to be protected by the Kshatriyas so that they will not be disturbed in executions of their hard occupational duties. Where is this Varnasrama? This is all Sudras. So what do we expect? If Brahmanas feel unwanted separation from their wives and children, Arjuna continued, and the Kshatriya king do not take care of them, then such Kshatriyas are to be considered no more than stage players. In dramatic performances in the theatre, an actor may play the part of a king, but no one expects any benefits from such a make-believe king. Similarly, if the king or the executive head of a state cannot give protection to the head of the social structure, he is considered merely a bluffer. Such executive heads simply live for their own livelihood while occupying exalted posts as chief of the state. My lord Arjuna is speaking. I promise that I shall give protection to your children, and if I am unable to do so, then I shall enter into the blazing fire, so the sinful contamination which has infected me will be counteracted. What a glorious sentence, unquote. So upon hearing Arjuna speak in this way, Brahmana replied as follows, quote, my dear Arjuna, Lord Balaram is present, but he could not give protection to my children. Lord Krishna is also present, but he also could not give them protection. There are also many other heroes such as Pradyumna, Aniruddha, carrying bows and arrows, but they could not protect my children. Unquote. The Brahmana directly hinted that Arjuna could not do that which was impossible for the Supreme Personality Godhead. He felt that Arjuna was promising something beyond his power. So Brahmana said, quote, I consider your promise to be like that of an inexperienced child. I cannot put my faith in your promises. How can you put the faith in the promise of a devotee when you don't have the faith in Krishna himself? Terrible thing. Terrible, terrible. When you don't have faith in Krishna, how can you survive serious reactions? So Arjuna then understood that the Brahmana had lost all faith in the Kshatriya king. Therefore, to encourage him, Arjuna spoke as if criticizing even his friend Lord Krishna. While Lord Krishna and others were listening, he specifically attacked Krishna by saying, quote, my dear Brahmana, I am neither Shankarshan nor Krishna, nor one of the Krishna's sons like Pradyumna or Aniruddha. My name is Arjuna, and I carry the bow known as Gandiva. You cannot insult me, for I have satisfied even Lord Shiva by my prowess when we were both hunting in the forest. I had a fight with Lord Shiva, who appeared before me as a hunter, and when I satisfied him by my prowess, he gave me the weapon known as Pasupan. Do not doubt my expertise. I shall bring back your sons, even if I have to fight with Yamaraj, the death personified. Unquote. When the Brahmana was assured by Arjuna in such exalted words, he was somehow or other convinced, and thus he returned home. And when the Brahmana's wife was to give birth to another child, the Brahmana began to chant, quote, "My dear Arjuna, please come now and save my child." After hearing him, Arjuna immediately prepared himself by touching sanctified water and uttering holy mantras to protect his bow and arrow from danger. He specifically took the arrow presented to him by Lord Shiva, and while going out, he remembered Lord Shiva and his great favor. In this way, he appeared in front of the maternity home, equipped with his bow, known as Gandiva, and with various other weapons. What a nice place to stop here. A lot of intensity to know what happened, what Arjuna finally did, how Krishna reciprocated. Wonderful passage. So, dear brother and sister, the time is there to be separated. Uh, that we wish that we can continue, but we have to follow some schedule. So thank you very much for joining early morning. I think it is my great fortune I felt that I have your kind association to give me the strength and ability to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in your association. And I can see all the devotees are now chanting so nicely. Only request mine is hear the 8-time Hare in the Mahamantra clearly. Do not worry about how long it takes. Specifically, Hare, 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 Hare. Clearly chant, because we want to please Srimati Radharani, so that ultimately Krishna can bestow his mercy upon all of us. All of the things will get done, believe me. And at the end of our life, we will realize what is the use? Why did I keep on working so hard? Why I didn't prioritize in my life for fulfillment of our mission to perfect our soul from the nuisance of this material existence? How long our soul will have to suffer? So become very dedicated. And I think some devotee doesn't like when I repeat those things. They feel like a harsh message, but it's for benefit for me because I'm really, really weak devotee. So I need to hear those strong words. So that way you will wake up on time and do your duty perfectly. Remember, we have no ability, and Krishna is the only one well-wisher who can help us in all situations. Have a faith in him, and you will see when you get some experience in your life that, hey, if Krishna was there, who would be protecting me? That experience will take you deeper and deeper. So just see, keep your eyes open. Krishna always give a chance to realize his friendship, how kind person he is. He has nothing, no envy against anyone. He is the perfect person. He is creator. He knows how to handle all situations perfectly, 100%. My Guru Maharaj used to say, you can't please 100% time all the devotee at all the time. No, impossible. But if you take complete shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, may it become possible. So thank you very much. And we are looking forward to see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.